This memorial was placed here by members of all parties in both houses.
Sorry.
Well, my students don't understand about communism, so I have to explain to them
Me neither.
that both houses of parliament, all parties, and by many other sympathizers in memory of the countless innocent men, women, and children from the Soviet Union and other East European states who were imprisoned and died at the hands of communist governments after being repatriated at the conclusion of the Second World War. May they rest in peace. So here in London, they know communism is a failed economic system and destroyed a lot of lives. Google John Lennon's Wall in Prague, and what you find is this wall right here. Shortly after Lennon's death in the 1980s, some people started putting graffiti on here, particularly images of John Lennon, peace and love, and all the imagined things that John Lennon stood for. Of course, the communist rulers didn't take too kindly to that, so they started to crack down on it, and they would paint over it, and of course, magically the next day it'd appear again. So become a bit of an icon for communist resistance. And now, every day, the wall changes as people add their own 2 cents to it. Cans of paint right over there. Looking over the river from the Charles Bridge in Prague, I see off in the distance a tower started by the communists, never completed. Your typical socialist utopia, now completed by the capitalists. It's renting for $1,000 a night to stay there and have a magnificent view of Prague in the Czech Republic. Notice the Slovaks are very expressive in their graffiti. I'm not sure what this all means, but I'm thinking war and generals, communist workers, tanks. That's what I'm sensing. So what am I doing in a town called Bratislava? Don't be ashamed if you don't know where that is, because most Americans have never heard of Bratislava. It is the capital city of the Slovak nation, the Slovak Republic. And when I started at FMCC in 1989, it was not a capital city, and it was not in the Slovak Republic. It was in the socialist country called Czechoslovakia, the socialist government, well, communist actually. It was part of the Soviet bloc, behind the Iron Curtain. You see a lot of buildings that are red roof. Those are probably predating the communist era. The Soviet-style buildings seem to be a little bit more block-oriented, rectangular-shaped, concrete, without any real form and substance, which, ironically, most four-year SUNY institutions are like that as compared to four-year private institutions. Just irrelevant, but interesting nonetheless. So why come to the Slovak Republic? Because I don't think Americans understand that socialism is a step toward communism, and communism is a failed economic system. 20 years later now, the Slovak Republic was born in 1993 in what's called the Velvet Divorce with the Czech Republic. There were two countries that were put together in 1918 or so, right at 1919, Treaty of Versailles, created Czechoslovakia, and that was never really a happy marriage, not an unhappy one either necessarily, but they decided to divorce and form two separate nations in 1993. Nations based on capitalism. So when I talk about the free market, I really love to think about New York City, because you have, one of the things you have is many buyers and many sellers. And of course, when we talk about perfect competition, we talk about barriers to entry and barriers to exit. Now, if you look over in this direction here, you'll see a hat vendor, and he's selling all sorts of New York style hats. They're $5 a piece.
You can come back this way here, cameraman. Over here is Zakati Park, which of course is famous for its Occupy Wall Street. You see one of those streetcars that's selling kebabs or hot dogs or whatever, and they just pull up and they disappear, and then they come back to exit. Barriers to exit are pretty simple. Barriers to entry, all you need is $2,000 to buy one of those carts, and you're in business.